Welcome back, brave souls. Tonight, we embark on a spine-chilling journey through the darkness of a haunted forest. As we drive through the shadows, we'll uncover two spooky stories that will send shivers down your spine. From ghostly apparitions to the presence of pure evil, these tales will make you question what lurks in the night. So buckle up, turn off the lights, and let's dive into the unknown. Story 1. The Hitchhiker in the Fog. The road stretched endlessly before me, swallowed by thick fog that crept between the towering trees. My headlights barely cut through the mist as I drove deeper into the forest. It was the dead of night, and every shadow seemed to move just out of sight. Then, out of nowhere, a figure appeared on the side of the road. A woman in a white dress, barefoot, her head slightly tilted downward. Her long black hair covered her face. I slowed down. I knew better than to pick up strangers in the middle of nowhere, but something about her made my skin crawl. Before I could decide what to do, she lifted her head. Her face was hollow, no eyes, no mouth, just a smooth, pale void where her features should have been. My heart pounded. I slammed my foot on the gas, speeding past her. But in my rearview mirror, she was still there, sitting in my back seat. A whisper filled the car, cold and breathless. "You should have never come this way." My vision blurred. My hands felt numb. The wheel jerked on its own. The car swerved wildly, heading straight for a massive tree. Then darkness. When I woke up, I was back at the beginning of the road. The fog had returned. My gas tank was full. My radio played a static-filled lullaby, and ahead of me the woman was waiting. I stared at the woman ahead of me, standing exactly where I had seen her before. My breath caught in my throat. No, this wasn't possible. I had just crashed. I felt it, the impact, the pain. But here I was, completely unharmed, my car without a scratch. The road stretched out before me again, the fog rolling in thicker than before. The woman in white didn't move. She stood still, her head slightly tilted down, waiting. A terrible thought formed in my mind. Was I dead? I slapped my arm, pinched my skin. No, I could feel everything. My heartbeat was too fast, my hands shaking on the wheel. I wasn't dead. But I wasn't safe either. I refused to stop this time. I gripped the wheel tight and pressed the gas pedal, swerving around her. But the second I passed her, my headlights flickered. Darkness swallowed the road. For a split second, there was nothing. No trees, no fog, no road, just void. Then, my engine sputtered back to life. The headlights blinked on again. I was still driving, but the forest had changed. The trees were taller, twisted. Their branches stretched unnaturally toward the sky. The road beneath me was cracked, old, as if no one had driven on it for centuries. And then I saw them. Figures lined both sides of the road, hundreds of them. Silent, motionless, dressed in old, tattered clothes, their heads hung low, faces obscured. Their presence sent a chill so deep into my bones, I thought my body would turn to ice. I drove faster. My hands were clammy on the wheel, my breath shallow. The figures didn't move. But the closer I got, the heavier the air became, pressing down on me. Then I saw something ahead. The woman. She was back, standing in the middle of the road, head still tilted down. But this time, I noticed something different. Her feet weren't touching the ground. She was floating. My heart stopped. Her head began to lift, painfully slow. I didn't want to see her face again. I couldn't. I veered the car hard to the right. Bang! The impact sent me spinning off the road. My vision blurred as the world tilted. I crashed through branches, tumbling downward. Then, silence. When I opened my eyes, I was still in my car. The windshield was cracked. My head throbbed. The radio buzzed with static. I wasn't on the road anymore. I was in the forest. Dark, endless trees surrounded me, their shapes shifting in the fog. The air was damp, the smell of rotting leaves thick in my nose. I tried to start the car, but the engine only groaned. Then, a whisper. "You're finally here." A shadow moved outside my window. I wasn't alone. I didn't dare move. The whisper still echoed in my ears. "You're finally here." The voice was soft, almost welcoming, but something about it made my stomach twist. Outside my window, the fog thickened. The trees seemed closer than before, their bark twisted like screaming faces. Something shifted between them, tall, thin figures moving just beyond my sight. I locked the doors. My fingers trembled as I reached for the ignition, desperately twisting the key. The engine wheezed but refused to start. Then tap, tap, tap. My blood ran cold. The sound came from my passenger side window. Slowly, I turned my head. She was there, the woman in white, sitting in my passenger seat. Her face was still hidden behind her long black hair, but her head was tilted too far forward, her chin nearly touching her chest. Her fingers, pale and claw-like, rested gently on her lap. I couldn't breathe. Then her shoulders began to shake. A quiet, raspy sound filled the car. She was laughing. Not a normal laugh. It was dry, cracked, like something long dead trying to remember how to make sound. My hands gripped the steering wheel so tight, my knuckles turned white. "What do you want?" My voice came out in a whisper. The laughter stopped. Slowly, her head lifted, and I saw her face. No eyes, no mouth, just smooth, stretched skin. I screamed. I yanked at the door handle, trying to escape, but the door wouldn't budge. The woman raised one thin, bony hand, and suddenly my chest tightened. I couldn't breathe. It felt like invisible hands were crushing my ribs, pressing the air out of my lungs. My vision blurred, my head pounded. The car's radio crackled, voices whispering, chanting in a language I didn't understand. Then, her voice, inside my head. "Drive." The pressure on my chest lifted. I gasped for air, my body shaking. "Drive." I didn't hesitate. I turned the key again, and this time, the engine roared to life. Without thinking, I slammed my foot on the gas. The car lurched forward, bouncing over the uneven forest floor. Trees blurred past me. The woman in white remained still, sitting perfectly upright, as if she belonged there. The path twisted ahead, and in the distance, I saw the road, almost there. But just as my tires hit pavement, the woman turned her head toward me. Her voice slithered into my mind, "Next time, don't run." Then, darkness. When I woke up, I was parked on the side of the road. The sun was rising, soft orange light breaking through the trees. My car was fine, no cracks, no dents, but my gas tank was full, and on the passenger seat, a single white dress soaked in black stains. Story 2. The Thing in the Woods. I was driving home from a late night shift, the only car on the lonely road cutting through Black Hollow Forest. The trees stood tall and twisted, their gnarled branches reaching like skeletal hands. The deeper I drove, the quieter it became. Even my car's engine sounded muffled. Then I saw it, a figure standing in the road. It wasn't human, it was tall, at least 8 feet, with unnaturally long limbs. Its head was too small for its body, and its eyes glowed red. I swerved to avoid it, nearly skidding off the road. When I looked in my mirror, the thing was running after me. Fast, too fast. I floored the gas, my heart hammering. The speedometer climbed, but the thing kept up. My headlights flickered. My radio crackled with an eerie, whispering voice. Then, silence. I glanced back. The creature was gone. Relief washed over me, but only for a second. A tap, tap, tap came from my window. I turned my head, and the thing was there, grinning at me with rows of needle-sharp teeth. The creature's face was inches from mine, its wide, needle-toothed grin stretching impossibly far. Its red eyes burned like embers in the night. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. The thing's clawed fingers tapped against my window, slow, deliberate, like it was playing with me. Tap, tap, tap. Then it tilted its head. Not like a curious dog. No, this was unnatural, sharp, like its neck was snapping in two. Its mouth twitched, lips peeling back, revealing more of those endless rows of teeth. A voice slithered into my mind, though the thing's mouth never moved. "Let me in." I gripped the steering wheel so tight my fingers ached. "Don't react. Don't answer." My gut screamed at me to drive, but I was frozen. My limbs refused to obey. The thing raised one long, bony hand, its claws gliding across the glass. Scrrch! The sound sent a violent shiver down my spine. Then, without warning, my car unlocked. Click. My heart nearly stopped. I didn't touch anything. The thing's grin widened. It reached for the handle. I snapped out of my trance. I slammed my foot on the gas. The tires screeched against the pavement as the car rocketed forward. My vision blurred, trees flashing past me in a dizzying rush. But in my mirror, the thing was running after me. Not just running, gliding. Its long limbs barely moved, yet it kept up with my speeding car, its red eyes locked onto mine in the reflection. The road twisted ahead. I gritted my teeth, forcing myself to focus. Just get out of the woods. But then, I saw something ahead. The road was gone. Where there should have been asphalt, there was nothing but darkness, an endless void swallowing the world ahead of me. My stomach dropped. I slammed the brakes. The car skidded, tires screeching as I struggled to stop before plummeting into the abyss. I turned to look behind me. the thing was gone. The road was silent, no rustling trees, no wind, just nothing. I was alone, or so I thought. Because as I turned my head forward again, the thing was sitting in my back seat, and it was laughing. Thank you for joining us on this terrifying ride through the dark forest. We hope these spooky stories have left you with chills and a sense of unease. If you enjoyed this journey into the supernatural, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more eerie tales. Share your thoughts in the comments below. What did you think of tonight's stories? And remember, the darkness holds many secrets, so keep your eyes open and your heart racing. Until next time, stay safe and keep the lights on.